Hello everybody, this is Diane. I am hoping to finish up the ephemera and things for the the final details for the shoe journals that I'm working on. So I'm going to do a video showing the card that I would like to insert into this long pocket on the front cover. So I have room for a nice long card here, and I decided to play with the Holtz wallpaper that I just got. It's called Worn Wallpaper Scraps. They are 5x8 cards with beautiful shabby chic type images of wallpaper, and it comes with die cuts of wallpaper images, so it's really fun. So I decided to play with this and include a couple pieces of my antique magazines. So some of the images that I've used in my journals are digitals of these antique shoe advertisements, and those digitals are in my shop. I also have some other digitals which I will discuss when I do the flip through, but I thought I would include a couple of the genuine pieces and include these on these wallpaper pieces. So I've already done some prep work. I took the 5x8 cardstock and just cut off a smidgen, maybe a little more than half an inch I cut off. And the full card would have fit in there, but I just didn't want to make it too crowded, so I just narrowed it a bit. But I kept the 8-inch height. And I brought over some elements. So what I've done, besides cutting that off, I rounded the corners and inked it around the edges and stenciled a bit on the back, and then did some zigzag stitching around the border. And I've selected a few pieces to include, or to decorate. Gotta get my glue. I forgot to bring my glue over. So I would like to put this high top boot on there, and I took, this is the cut off piece from this, so I'm going to put that on this one just like that. And I have this piece of a kind of a brocade ribbon that I would like to put on there. And then I want to include one of the die cuts from the Worn Wallpaper. I think, was it this one? I think I put the pinkish one on that with the pink flowers, and the yellowish one on this one. And then I'll make a tab for it also. So I want to glue things rather than sew, so that I don't want to take away some of your journaling space on the back. So I am going to just stitch down the center here and then just glue it on. I'm using a zigzag stitch. Just want to make the stitch a little bigger than what I put around the border. Ouch! I dropped my scissors and then I poked myself with them. So I will glue this piece down. I've had a busy week this week. I had the boys 2 days. Can you hear the wind? It's another lovely windy day. But our weather this week was so nice. It was in the 60s and 70s. Like yesterday was the warmest, I believe, and it was close to 80 degrees. So my daughter and I and my daughter-in-law took the kids after daughter got out of work. My daughter-in-law had the day off. I had the boys all day, but she came to pick them up, and then we grabbed another friend and we went for a walk. So I'm just going to add this ribbon here. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to arrange these pieces before I actually glue anything down. And I think I like that. Let me pick out a tab, and then we'll figure out where we want the tab to be also. Now it's going to slide. I guess I already know where the tab's going to be. It's going to be on this side because of the pocket that I'm going to be putting that in. I brought my tab punch over. So I have some double-sided papers that I could decide. It's kind of dark over here. It's a rainy day today. Rainy and windy. But anyway, yeah, I think I like that tab. And I like it right there. So I'm just going to ink around this. So we went to the Borough Hall, where they have a little playground and a walking track where you can walk in laps and still see your kids on the playground. You're never out of sight of the playground. And man, that place was packed with kids yesterday because it was so nice. So the younger kids played on the playground and the rest of us walked around the track a few times. So it was really nice. And I was tired when I got home. Might as well put that on right there. I have to do my weekly collage video today because I'm going to be gone all day tomorrow. My church is having a seminar about what the Bible says about depression. So my son and I are going. We both have had bouts of depression, and we both are in ministry at the church in which we would possibly and probably talk with people who are going through depression, so we could use it for ourselves and for others. So I have to do my collage today, but I wanted to get these journals done first. I just haven't been pushing myself to do a lot this week. Like I said, I had the boys 2 days and other things to do. So I've just been slowly working on these journals and enjoying the process very much. I love these journals. I'm not sure if I'm going to work on the other shoe journals right away or set that aside for a future project. I kind of want to do all the shoe journals. But the other one is going to be not quite as vintage. It'll be more retro than vintage, mid-century and onwards. I think I'm actually going to sacrifice a little bit of this and trim that off, just so I don't have to. I don't think it looks so good covering up the toe of that. So I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to trim off that edge. So I'm going to grab a pencil and some scissors. So sometimes you might forget that you can cut things to work for you. You don't have to use the entirety of whatever piece it is you're using. There, I like that. hope you can see okay. These die cut pieces have the same texture as the wallpaper pieces, the 5x8 pieces. They're wonderful. I am in love with these, with this whole set of worn wallpaper that he did. There's that tag. There we go. That's a beautiful way to start the book. Now let's do the next one. I will start by gluing this strip down after I sew it down the center. Oh, I hit a different stitch by mistake. Well, I had hit a different stitch, and so when I put it back to zigzag, I didn't change the size back. On this machine, if I switch the stitches, when I switch back, I have to adjust the size of the stitches again. On my other machine, it was only if I turned the machine off. If I left zigzag and then went back to it, it remembered where I had it set. So I have to remember that. So I'm going to do another, I'm going to do it again with the same size stitch. Just a different, another row of it. The panel that has the stitches on it, the buttons are quite big. Somebody wanted to see the front of my sewing machine. So we'll have to do that, but maybe not today. So that looks better having, because the stitch was so narrow, it looks better having two rows. Anyway, the buttons are so large that I accidentally hit them when I'm moving my machine back and forth. So just something else I have to get used to. My grandsons are so cute. We all say that though, don't we? But they are subscribed to me on YouTube. They don't watch my videos. I think they've watched a couple or watched a little bit just to see Grandma on YouTube. But they get notifications when I have a new video. So when they were here yesterday, I said, I haven't done a video in a few days. And they said, I noticed that. And then that was Wednesday when I had them. And then yesterday, I had a video go up at 8 o'clock. And I picked them up just before 8 o'clock. But at lunchtime, I said that I had a video go up that day. I'm not sewing that down. I'm gluing it down. And Adam said, well, I don't watch your videos, which I don't expect him to. That's fine. But he said, I see your notifications when you have a new video, and it makes me happy. And I just thought that was so cute. He's 14, and it makes him happy when he sees that Grandma posted a new video. I love him. This flower is smaller, and I like the curved shape of it. Oh, I really like it with that pattern side showing. So I do have a lot of things to do today since I'll be gone all day tomorrow. But I'm going to try not to pressure myself. I'm glad my husband, I'm glad my son, I do not consider my son a replacement for my husband, but he's a good support system. Both of my kids are. But I'm glad he is going to the seminar with me. It just really helps me that my son is very, very involved in ministry in my church, because he didn't used to be. He stepped away for quite a long time. And now he's back in a big way, serving God, helping the pastor, preaching. My son helps fill the pulpit when the pastor is away, or sometimes he just has something that he wants to talk about and he makes a sermon. And our pastor is young, and he has given some sort of lessons or training to a couple of our young men on how to prepare a sermon and how to deliver the sermon. It's just really awesome. And it is a joy for me to see my son up there in the pulpit sharing God's word. And it is a big comfort to me to have both of my kids ministering in my church and just being there with me. I am liking these. Oh, this has poke out thingies. Quite a few of them. That will make it look better. Did I get them all? Nope. One more. Okay. Don't want that right on the toe of the shoe. Okay, now that one's done. These are quite lovely. I like them. I'm going to see what else I need to do, if there's anything I need to do over here at the sewing machine. There probably is something I need to do. So I'll I'll just start going through and doing what I need to do to finish up some ephemera. So this came out of a book about shoes. I think it's from the book Where Will This Shoe Take You? And it's a book cover, The Surprising Adventures of Puss in Boots. So of course it's about a cat who wears boots. Appropriate for a book about shoes. So I am going to back this with something else. Let's put it on this. And I'm not even going to cut it because it's just perfect with a tiny little mat around it. Guess I should have filled my glue bottle. It's not empty, but it's at the point where it takes a while for the glue to reach the tip. I'm just going to sew around that quickly. I just dropped it. There we go. I am going to do a straight stitch for this, I think. Oh, gotta slow it down. When I do the straight stitch, I have to go slower because it goes a lot faster than the zigzag. Okay, we ran out of bobbin thread. So, probably about the time I stopped it to change the speed. So we're not going to do any sewing right now. I will come back to that. I'm not going to make you watch me thread or wind the bobbin. So there's a little booklet in there. I don't need to do anything to that. For this one, I'll just ink it. I think this piece came from the old design shop. I had purchased a couple of digital ephemera pieces, sets, digital sets, not pages, but ephemera, before. I've had them for a while, so I purchased them before I had my own digitals, but I used them all. I mean, I still have a few pieces over there on the other side of my table to include, but not very many. And they were all vintage. And the other journal that I'm going to make is the retro one. I'll have to use other elements for that one. This is on paper and not cardstock, but it's the really good quality, heavier paper. So sometimes I just leave it. I don't back it with cardstock because it's sturdy enough and you can write on it very easily, and it's not cheap and flimsy. And this one is one of my digitals. This image came from an antique catalog from about 1912. And I just love the shoe styles. The fun thing, I wish I had read the book, the Where Will This Shoe Take You book, because all I did was cut out pages and images that I wanted. Oh, I put 2 pages together in here. Well, you got a bonus. They were stuck together and I didn't even realize. Well, that's funny. Anyway, as I was cutting out images to put in the book, I was kind of scanning the pages to see if there were words I wanted to include. And there were some very interesting things about, I'm going to round the corners of that. Very interesting things about shoes. And I will be reading the pieces that I included in the books. I'll be reading them as we go through the flip through, whatever day that will be. This is from Mrs. Coggs, and it's probably, yeah, it's a Degas ballerina putting on her toe shoes. It was quite fascinating and sometimes pretty funny, the quotes and the excerpts from history about shoes. I mean, some of the things are ridiculous. I don't have this in the book, but in medieval times, to show their wealth, the things that people did was just ridiculous. There was a shoe that had extremely long, pointy, they were soft shoes, but they had long, pointy toes. And they got to the extreme that they had to tie the toe of the shoe. They like put a garter around their knee and then tied the toe to the shoe to the garter. So they're walking around with this toe of their shoe tied to their knee. And then there were laws where you had to have a certain rank to have so many inches on the toe of your shoe. So there were each level of nobility had a length of shoe toes that they could reach but not exceed. That was pretty funny. I love this picture. And that's from my digital. I like those shoes, so pretty. These are Mrs. Coggs right here, and this one's mine. Uh-oh, there we go. So yesterday I was just inserting things into pockets and thinking that I would go back and finish them, which is what I'm doing now. Obviously. Maybe I'll add a little lace to some of them, or some kind of a tab. I think this one could use a tab, a fabric tab maybe. Whoops, that came out a little dark. I had a fabric tab that's like I sewed it together and it's just been floating around here. I keep moving it around, and now that I want it, I won't know where it is. This little piece is kind of cute. I'll just sew that on there with a little bit of lace or something. How about this pretty little green trim? I love this. Got this at a flea market, and it's so vintage and delicate and beautiful. And I've used it in these journals a little bit, and that's all I have left now. Just offset that a bit. Oh, I can't sew it because I have to wind my bobbin, so I'm just gonna stick it in there, and I'll have to come back to that. I'm pretty excited about these journals. I think they have turned out very nicely, and I have had so much fun with them. And I don't know how many people are going to want to have a journal about shoes, but I think they're so fun. So I hope that some of you are interested. I did have a comment from one of my junk journal friends that collects shoes. I'm not sure if she meant like figurines or what, but I think she's interested in getting one of these journals. So at least one person out there likes shoes. But I figure if people are putting digitals out there, like Mrs. Coggs and the Old Design Shop, Julie from the Old Design Shop, then people must be liking them. I have a bulb pin here, so I'm gonna add something to that. So I want to do all the finishing details on these journals and do my collage. I have a couple errands to run. And what time is it now? 8:44 already. I wanted to put this video up on my channel today because I didn't have one ready to go at 8 o'clock today. So as soon as I get this, as soon as I'm done, I hope you're not bored just watching me ink stuff pretty much. As soon as I'm done, I will get it uploaded and then I'll get busy with my list of things. This one will have to have something glued to the back. There's my scraps of copy dyed paper. I'll probably sew around it because it's pretty gray looking. So once the glue dries, well, I'll just glue it down the center, and then when I get my bobbin ready, I will just sew around that. End up inking that too. Let's see what else. I'll have to ink this one, I think. Yep. All right, I'm going to read this one to you today since you've been putting up with me inking. If you look inside any well-worn shoe, you see indentations left by the owner's toes and concave hollows worn smooth by the heel. The scarred sole of the shoe is evidence of the posture, gait, and number of miles traveled by its owner. And that is Nancy Rexford, and her essay or book or whatever the quote came from is called The Speaking Shoe. A couple things I have to ink there. This is a piece from the Real Vintage Catalog. I misplaced my glue bottle. I'm glad I don't have to fuss with all of those buttons. They had to have button hooks. Plus, they probably had servants doing it, but, you know, if I lived back in that day, I'd be the servant. And I would have to be doing all that fussing. I will sew around that later. I will ink around that later. This one is a quote that I have to back, and this one I have to back. Here is a page from a fashion museum book that I have, and I just sewed it to copy dyed paper, so that's a nice big journaling spot there. Does this fit there? Yes, it does. I'm just going to glue this down and not sew around it. So I still have to, do the finishing, do the sewing and the rest of the inking, and then add things to the bulb pins. I think I have a couple bulb pins in there that I have to add some dangly things to. And then maybe I'll be able to call it done. I'll probably ink around that. And that goes in the little tuck spot here. Now this is a picture and a quote that goes, it's not really a quote, it's a caption that goes with it. So I'm gonna put that on the back. If I have a piece big enough, that piece is big enough, but it's, yeah, I'll use that, I think. That one's not quite big enough. I grabbed my wrong bag of copy dyed scraps. This is the bag of little ones. I'll use that. And I will sew around this. Going to be cooler this week or next week than it was this week, and it's already starting to cool. And so if you want to know what all of these quotes and captions and excerpts from the books have to say, come on back for the final flip through. That goes in there. Okay, I'm going to draw this video to a close and do the finishing work on these, and I will see you for Sunday collage video probably, and the final flip through of this one Monday or Tuesday maybe. And I'm hoping it'll be Monday and I can put these in the shop on Monday. So if you're interested in them, keep your eyes open to get to see these in the shop on Monday, hopefully. Have a wonderful weekend and have a creative day. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.